So, no faith versus faith, or faith versus no faith. I guess it doesn't matter which way you go. If you start off with faith and you lose it in some aspect, or you realize you have to mature in some aspect, it can be just as difficult as if you never had faith and somebody's trying to convince you to have faith. Like, well, yeah, I got faith in God, but everybody else seems to just, they just do whatever they want, whatever tickles their fancy, and people just don't seem to care. Just like this shooting I just heard about in Jacksonville. Like, what is it, like the second shooting in Jacksonville or some shit? Done at a gaming thing, huh? The audio, video, whatever that got out online, I hear somebody during the shooting ask, what is he shooting with? It's like, what? I don't know. So anyways, yeah. People, I don't think, are taught the importance of life, or how difficult it is to survive. Yeah, it's just, I think when people aren't taught any hardship, or they don't deal with any hardship, they just go from one hardship to another, ignoring it all, in denial, not caring. I don't care what anybody thinks. Usually, I notice a lot of times people say that when they actually do care what people think. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's a big headache. I remember in my younger years telling people, you just gotta have faith. It'll all work out. We'll make it there. We'll get it done. It's like when people say trust me, or all this other shit. Whatever happened to consequences? If you give somebody your word, what happened to those consequences? If you talk about how much your word is worth, how come there's no consequences? And then when you're dealing with atheists or whatever else, and they're the ones that drop the ball, and they say some shit like, yeah, I guess your faith really helped you there. It's like, well, you're lucky I worry about going to prison, or nothing would help you right now standing near me. You want to keep fucking around? Okay, let's keep fucking around. We'll be out on some dirt road somewhere someday, having fun. I don't know about you. Haha, you thought I was going to throw a threat out there. Nah, just kidding. But anyways, sorry, I have hat hair. It's just really hot. I don't want to wear my hat right at the moment. But I was just thinking, my younger years when I was doing ministry work, I just ran on faith. Things worked out. When things didn't work out was when I allowed my significant other or somebody else to cause me to worry a little bit, and then start basically running the show myself. Like don't tell me to start a career and get an education and get some long-term lease, or think about buying a house, get my credit in order, or go to school to learn how to write proper English, and the different formats and writing and stuff like that. Don't tell me to do all that if when I start doing it, you sit there and You act like I'm doing something wrong. Like, how dare I get an education? When I start worrying about people losing paperwork and shit, that's pretty fucked up when people do that. When they lose your paperwork. And then they get on your case, or they point their finger at you for not having an education. Or they start saying little shit to get under your skin. They think they're funny. It's like, some of you people that follow certain paths and ideologies that are not Christian, I don't think you realize that you are guilty of breaking your codes or your edicts, or however you want to put it, a lot more than I am. Well, Joel, you insulted me. Yeah, well, you harmed my life. You got in the way of my finances, my education, this, that, and the other thing. You, this, that, and a half dozen other things. And then you justified it when you got butt hurt when I called you a fucking dumbass. Oh, well, we're going to see who the dumbass is now. I'm going to make you look like a dumbass. Like, okay, you can make me look like a dumbass all you want, but you're still going to be a dumbass at the end of the day. I'll just look like a dumbass. Looking like a dumbass doesn't mean dumbass. Just means I looked like a dumbass for a moment. Whoops, my bad. Nobody's perfect. Why are you judging me? You tell me not to tell you that my God's judging you, so okay. I don't care what religion you are. Which God am I talking about? See, if I talk about God, everybody thinks I'm talking Christian. Like, yes. Some people think I'm talking about Great Spirit. Well, yes. So maybe not everybody has the same amount of access to God, as in, like, hey God, I see this shit and it's wrong. Maybe God does listen to certain people a little bit more, but it's not like you would think. Like, God doesn't give you extra just because he listens to you more. He doesn't answer every single one of your prayers just because he listens to you more. But maybe he listens to certain people for their perspective on how humanity's doing. And when humanity's just reached a point where they're just being idiot children. Because we're on a ground level. We're seeing it for how it feels and being human and all that. So maybe God needs to look through certain eyes in order to get a clear perspective on, I mean, God's supposed to know everything, right? So why wouldn't he do it that way? Yeah, I don't know all the answers. I think it's all about getting us to learn how to make the right decisions and choices on our own. Self-governing and all that. So faith or no faith? Well, I'm in a lot better mood when I'm in a place of faith. Things happen smoother. I'm able to problem solve better. Whether some people want to chalk it up as psychological or whatever, I don't care. You can explain faith or my belief in God or anybody else's belief however you want. But you see, um, anyway, see, this is why I stay out of all the faith, non-faith arguments, is because here's what I've seen. There are some people that they're, they're it, they, they lean a scotch over to the agnostic side of things, yet they call it something else and they say they're an atheist. But they know there's something out there. But their concept of what it is and what it does is completely different than the Christian's concept. That's okay. Because, see, I see it somewhere in the middle. Um, know, some people think of God as an absentee father. I think of God as more like, well, we're teenagers now, and he's letting us take the car out, take a date out to the prom or something. They're going to leave us at home for the weekend alone or whatever. And then dad comes home, and if you threw a party and you didn't clean it up, basically, if you threw a party and you didn't repair the shit you broke, aka it's called remorse, reparations, however you want to call it, and you didn't do a good enough job, well, you could either try to hide it or you could ask for forgiveness, right? But even when you wait to get caught, you're going to ask for forgiveness. Then you're going to get punished, right? God has laws of progression similar to your parents. Everything's a reflection of a reflection from somewhere. So the whole question of faith or no faith, well, when I'm doing things the way society says to do things, like you need to get this diploma, this degree, these credentials, you need to have this credit rating, you need to own this, this, and this, I'm constantly being sabotaged, carpet pulled out from underneath my feet. I mean, so much so where it does appear as targeting. It does appear as if there's a concerted effort to fuck with me. Now, part of it's because I didn't have faith in certain areas, and I felt I had to fix the problem myself. And by fixing the problem, it made me look a little, I guess to put it just simply, made me look on the guilty side of certain things. Yeah. And then when people think I'm your normal run-of-the-mill Christian, they want to hold me as accountable as Christians say they live like. And I'm like, well, just because I use the word God and a good portion of what I follow or understand comes out of the Bible does not mean it doesn't come from other places. When I go look at a religion, most paths and most religions, they all look the same to me. Just the languages might change, the artwork might change, the way the words are strung together might change, but it's the same thing. As a kid, I spent a lot of time sitting and waiting. So during those periods of time, there's a lot of time to contemplate things, to contemplate the lint in your belly button. You also learn that nothing lasts forever, right? Among other things. So yeah, as a child, there was a considerable amount of time when we really didn't have a home, or where we did have a home, there wasn't electricity, or there wasn't this, or there wasn't that. And, there were days where there was hardly any food. Constantly moving around. So you see, I know it's not all just about me, because obviously something happened in my mother's life that caused her to keep moving around or something. I mean, it seemed like, what the hell? Maybe they didn't have words for what it was back in the 70s. Right? But why would they gaslight or target or stalk my mother? Why? What is it about my mother? Huh? No. There's all sorts of stories that talk about mothers and sons being stalked, and have to hide out. Oh wait, that movie, The Terminator, right? Wow, Joel, your life sounds like The Terminator. Like, oh, so am I supposed to believe that some indestructible cyborgs or robots are coming after me, and they're the ones that are targeting me? Come on, people. A lot of the fictional tales that you read or you watch on TV or you listen to, they're nothing more than a retelling of the archetypes of the patterns of things, how certain things happen. No, what does it usually equate to when you're talking about shit like that? Usually it means like either a royal bloodline or a prophecy, right? Usually people that get targeted like that with those different aspects involved usually means you're from a royal bloodline and and somebody's putting an effort into hiding you, or it has to do with some prophecy, or all the above. Now, what if everybody is under strict orders that know about it or involved to keep their mouths shut, even from me? And what if people say, "Oh, well, it's for his safe"? But what if, you see, and this is just like a vision I had when I was younger. You know that Native American stuff I talk about? Okay, Vision Quest. All right, we're all on the same page here. Um, yeah, I was the youngest in this group for some reason. I don't know. They were guards or something. It was weird. I kept telling them to let me fight, and they said, "No, you have to stay hidden." And it wasn't until all of them were taken out, and then the last one was wounded, that I was, yeah, like, well, there's nobody left to protect me. So I guess if that's what you guys' big concern was, the only one left to protect me is me right now. So now I get to fight back. And then the enemy got defeated in the vision. I'm not going to tell all the little details, but that's the basic gist of it. Now, the thing about visions and vision quests and stuff like that is you can't take them all literally, and sometimes you might think you know what it means, but later on you'll find out it meant something totally different. And then at the same time, you need to consider that there are other people involved in the vision. So parts of it might be meant for other people to know. You know, this, that, or the other thing. So, then there's these people on Project Camelot talking about all these prophecies and bloodlines and stuff, like Lee Chiron Perrin. And he's saying, "Oh, and this voice told me if he is the king, he will be sold into slavery and fight his way out to freedom." Hey, Chiron Lee Perrin, the voice told you if he didn't say if you. Now, if I showed you the particular video and the sound expert and then compared it with his speech patterns and psychology and all that, is Chiron trying to convey a message without conveying a message? Or is he or is he trying to convey a message without people realizing that he's conveying a message? See, sometimes the mind or the soul or whatever, the Jedi mind trick will cause some people to tell on themselves or something similar. So it gets hard to tell whether somebody's doing the right thing or not. It looks like they did the right thing, but actually you find out that something in the mind does this weird thing to where people tell on themselves. But then there's the people that think they know how to read that. And then they go around telling people, "Oh, see, that person told," And it's like, well, not everybody. It's like, come on, give it a rest. Really, you know what I mean? So, and that's where faith comes into a big part of all this. Is you gotta have faith that at some point it's gonna become blatantly obvious. You gotta have faith that you're gonna be able to survive or absorb or endure whatever piece of crap you got lying around. Even if it's yourself. Sometimes you're your worst enemy, as they say. But sometimes it's other people trying to make you just as bad, because here's the thing. The social norm, right? What are the masses doing? Well, if a certain group or certain number of pieces of crap figure out, hey, if we make everybody else pieces of shit, then we'll be the normal and we'll run the show because we'll be the societal norm. Yeah. When enough people start, doing certain things, then everybody else says, oh, well, it's normal business. It's like, yeah, but your normal business practices in this geographical area are against the law. So what the fuck? But that's the way we've done it for 100 years. Okay. So yeah, it can be really confusing sometimes if you're trying to figure certain things out and be on the level about certain things and do them the right way without going the Hillary route. That's how Hillary Clinton and all these others get away with shit. They set up certain things. They set certain things into motion. Basically, it's the create a problem, provide a solution game. Real nasty game. What did I do with my bag? Oh, there it is. So when they do that, it's like what some people in Israel will say. They'll say, yeah, we took Rothschild's money and all that to build Israel, to get Israel back. It was lesser of evil, what we needed to do to get it back, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, that's part of the game. They get you to believe that you need their help and then you need to be their bitch for a while. Right? I don't know. I don't think Joshua of Jericho made any deals with anybody to, Of course, Joshua's a different type of dude, right? I think that's why some people got offended years ago when I refused their assistance in a few things. It happens every now and then for me. I refuse somebody's help. And I let them know, I say, it's because I can't do it that way. If I do it that way, it's just going to perpetuate a cycle. It's just going to continue the cycle, and then at some point, me using that method is going to have to be counterbalanced in the universe, and things brought back into balance, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, which causes the pendulum to swing once more. You could look at it like the pendulum on a clock, and that clock is the doomsday clock. So, but there's a way to wind it back, but you need to get the pendulum to stop swinging. And then you have to get it to start swinging in the other direction. Think of the pendulum as being a four-directional pendulum. We got to stop it from going left and right. We need to get it going forward and back, or back and forward, like walking. So, everybody knows that. Everybody talks about it, and that's why I get really frustrated and pissed off sometimes. Is I'm sitting here and I listen to people, what they say, and in my mind, that it tells me that you know other things. But then I realize you don't know those things. And then I feel like an asshole when I have to tell a large group of highly intelligent people, sorry, I overestimated your level of knowledge. But I didn't underestimate it. I still don't underestimate it in certain areas. You have more knowledge than I do. But in these other areas, this is what I've had to do my entire life, is look at this stuff. But it's not just because I had to, it was just an instinct, a drive, something that has been part of my bloodline for so long that, maybe it is ingrained to understand why religion exists, what its good attributes and bad attributes are, what it has to do with psychology, what it has to do with energy work. It's a scary thing when a lot of people learn how to do energy work and start manipulating energies, because most people think that when they're manipulating an energy that it's localized. It's like, no. If you draw too much power from a power plant, it's going to cause a brownout. So you got all these people messing around with the secret and the law of attraction. It's like, well, why do you need to attract more positive energy? Why don't you just learn to accept the positive and the negative through your actions and intentions? Shouldn't you be getting a level of positive or negative energy based on your actions and your intentions and all that? Or you're going to try to fool the system. See, and there it is. A lot of people try to fool the system. They get results, so they fool the system. And I'm looking at them like, well, you can't fool. It's like, yeah, you can. You can fool the system, but you're going to get caught soon. If you don't get caught, well, sooner or later you're going to put such a load on the system's going to start breaking down and shutting down. Right? Right. As above, so below. All the systems are interconnected. Just don't fool yourself. I don't know what Peri Banu is, but hey, Princess Peri Banu. So, it's like when people are putting on that persona of positive. Why have so many people started taking psych meds? Oh, to keep that positive mindset, right? And you think about it. All these people that are doing or did that law of attraction, and I agree, keeping a positive mindset is a good thing. Now here, let me do it's not really a counter argument, it's more like this is what I've observed, this is what I've experienced, this is what I've seen. There's really no argument. It's more like a conversation, because I'm not discounting things. I'm contributing to the knowledge base in those things, as well as trying to better understand certain things myself. So it's a good thing that I had a foundation that was rooted in do unto others as you would have done unto yourself, love thy neighbor, love thy God, all these things, which provided a tread carefully in the energy work kind of shit. Tread lightly where angels fear to tread. See, here's the other thing. I've known quite a few Satanists in my life. Not because whatever, what, just because if my neighbor, whatever, and we're friends, he cool, great guy, whatever, half dozen other things, but he's chosen to follow that path, and it's based on this, that, or the other thing, whatever denomination he's, So you got to get to know people first before you judge them based on their religion. And here's the thing: is I understand that quite often it's based on some rebellious whatever or some I'm sticking it to the man kind of routine or whatever. It's a little immature or whatever. But I don't need to tell them that that's what I think. I don't need to treat them as if they're being immature because of what they choose to call their form of religious belief or practice. Because they look at Christianity that way or whatever else. They think I might be crazy for believing in God, right? You could say they scientifically can discount God. Well, I can scientifically prove God. So if I have just as much scientific evidence as you have scientific evidence to disprove God, then we're stuck back at where we started. Nobody could prove or disprove, right? So anyways, moving on. Where were we? Oh, positive law of attraction and all that. Why it blew up in everybody's face and why it's still blowing up in everybody's face. Hey, what's up? I have on C. So if you're hacking a system, see, people don't think it's possible to hack energy systems. Well, then what about them ley lines? Yes, it is a circle. I mean, look what's happening. The Democrats look foolish. I mean, and this is not political. I am not speaking in any political sense other than that is the name of the large group that has gone a little sideways. Now, we all know the Republicans. They have always been that grumpy old uncle that says, stay off his lawn. And how come you don't have a better credit rating? You know, you need to start saving. You should work harder. You know that uncle? The conservative, the Republican uncle, right? But anyways, this isn't political. During the 70s. Did you guys... Okay, I'm live again. Did that cut off right there? I wonder, because I just got a call, but I think somebody butt dialed me. Okay, I'm back. Alright, just a call where I'm going to be staying for probably at least the next month. So even if I don't sell my truck, I have enough to survive. But whether or not the person's buying the truck or not, I still got to go get my truck and do all that, right? So sorry about the interruption. Oh, sorry about it. It wasn't a butt dial. It was a friend of mine's kid at some I don't know, some sporting event or something. I'm assuming it was basketball or kid and cheerleading or whatever, and they won. They still cut off. Oh, dang, I can't chat back. So, oh wow, a bunch of bikes rolling through. So, let me put my glasses on. Otherwise, I'm going to sit back. So, where was I? So, yeah, people hacking the energetic system. Well, when you think about it, think about the ley lines. Yeah, I can't chat back. All I can do is talk back. I used to get in trouble for that. My stepdad used to always tell me not to talk back. So, yeah, was it in Vietnam or Cambodia or one of those places? They did this thing where they drove thousands of iron rods into a hillside to perform some kind of basically like geographical acupuncture. Oh yeah, see that could be intentional. That's what I'm saying. Is when people are doing this stuff, I really think they need to start thinking about what they're doing. And if they have thought about it, well, then let some of us that know about this stuff know, or we might talk about it. And then people will sound crazy talking about it and wondering about it. And then after a while, people will start noticing the cause and effect. And then people will start burning witches. Basically, per se. I'm not saying witches literally, I'm using that as a figurative term. Then anybody that looks. Alright, catch you later. And then anybody that looks like whatever they think's causing the problem. Um, it's like there's chakras on the planet. There's the root chakra, the crown chakra, all the chakras. And those are at specific points along specific ley lines. Well, what happens if people start fooling with those things? Like driving iron rods into certain mountainsides at certain geographical points or something. Well, why are you doing that? What's that going to do? But anyways, I think there's something to it. Systems are very similar. Yeah, Mount Shasta's the root chakra. The root chakra deals with survival, right? Sexuality, right? So if everybody up there is all lackadaisical, do what thou wilt, and all that other stuff up there, what do you think the rest of the world's going to do? Now, your little Mount Shasta community might be all chill and everybody's happy, but your mindset, you're not mindful enough to hold that node. It's not that they're doing anything wrong themselves, it's just they're not mindful of the rest of the planet, one could say. Now, if they were being mindful of atrocities and tyranny, like saying, hey, that ain't cool, and being an active part in it, I bet that would change some things globally. Because the root chakra is survival, it's your base instincts, it's sexual. So if that's where the root chakra is, what are they doing up in Mount Shasta that's causing all this other insanity? Huh. Maybe I need to get back up there. I am a planetary doctor. I know planetary acupuncture. What's scary is I might just know that stuff. But you see, nobody wants somebody like me to know that stuff and be able to talk about it on some scientific levels even. because I don't fit the effeminate stereotype, huh? I'm not all decked out in tie-dye and fucking say whatever, fucking whatever, and, it's all good, peace, love it. Sorry I don't fit the stereotype. Anyways, I mean, I know a Buddhist redneck, so why can't I be what I am? If you accept a Buddhist redneck, what about me? I don't know. It's just like martial arts. What's your stereotype of a good martial artist? Well, look at Conor McGregor. Maybe I'll find it. Yeah, you never know, I might. But look at Conor McGregor. He's a mouthy, cocky son of a bitch, right? But he can fight. You get out in the world and everybody says, oh, you got to be careful of the quiet one. Oh, that guy's just all mouth. He can't do shit. Well, then how come there's Conor McGregors in the world? You never know. The mouthy one might be mouthy because he's saying, hey, don't fuck with me. I'll fuck you up. And I really don't want to fuck you up. So I'm warning you. Don't push me to that point. When people play the psychological game and all that other stuff, the emotional and the psychological game, and they start to lose, they tend to get violent. That's quite often when you could tell somebody's got a agenda and it's not a good one, and they've been lying or cheating or whatever else because they have to win. But if you don't get angry and you just stand your ground, they'll get violent. So what I learned to do years ago was to get angry. I realized getting angry diffused the situation and I wouldn't have to defend myself against them physically. That's what I had to do for a period of time. Get some breathing room. Because what I was doing I wasn't going around violent neighborhoods. I wasn't involving myself in violent games of any sort. I mean, it'd come to my doorstep. So I realized people don't like being beaten at their own game. And when they're beaten at their own game, they resort to violence. And then they get butthurt when they resort to violence and they realize it's all warfare to me, you dumb fuckers. So, whose game are you playing? You know what I mean? Whose game are these people playing? They're not playing their game because they suck at it. If you guys are playing the warfare game, you better be adept in a lot of different aspects. You better be ready for your ass to be whooped and handed to you. Because it's no longer going to be the restraining. It's no longer going to be the warnings. Stuff is going to start coming down the pike fast and hard. For a dog to get a shot. What kind of shot? Rabies shot in a store? Ow. Yeah, Marley's got all his shots. He needs a bath. Oh my god, he was rolling in the dirt yesterday. Holy fuck. Yeah, it'll be pretty good to get parked and decompress. So, yeah, retraining my brain and my emotions, or I shouldn't say retraining. I should say going back to what works for me that doesn't harm others. What, well, it just, you see, that's the other weird conundrum is back in the day, the only way that it could be really screwed was through other people. You know, sixth generation warfare kind of stuff. And then trying to explain to a fiance or something like, hey, it's not you that I don't trust. You just don't know about sixth generation warfare. Some of your friends I don't trust. What did they say? What kind of advice? Well, your friend doesn't know me at all. You went and talked to your friend about that, but you never talked to me about it. How can I explain anything or make any changes if you're talking to your lesbian friend about a straight relation, about that, and then I have this handicap and these other things that I have to deal with, and then I'm doing this spiritual work, this, that, and a half dozen other things. Then I just got the psych evaluations and all these other tests done, and I'm trying to decide what school I want to go to. And your lesbian friend's going to tell you that you're gaining weight because I'm emotionally not there for you. And that you wish that I would show you as much passion as I do my work. Huh. Hmm. No, actually, it's because I'm a pretty decent cook and I don't skimp on butter and shit like that. Yeah, yeah. She would, you know, because well, she would eat the leftovers from. She would take the leftovers from dinner to work for lunch, either, and she'd even share it. Yeah. So, anyways, that and when I showed up, the apartment was empty, hardly any food in the fridge. She was barely making it. So full fridge, somebody cooking. Well, yeah, somebody's gonna gain a few pounds. So yeah, and she didn't understand addiction and alcoholism and all that other stuff. So there was that we needed to work through on certain levels, you know. And then there was a surgery and all this other stuff. And then when I'm out of town, trying to make a future for us, you know, a comfortable one, doing what I like to do, that she can also participate in. She goes and she listens to these people, and it's like, these are people that, well, her dyke friend doesn't like straight men, for one. So why the fuck would she have anything good to say about me anyways? It's not me that had the problem there about sexuality and one's gender. It was her fucking dyke friend. And I know because she told me. She only went and hung out with this friend when I was out of town. Okay, big deal. Because she didn't like straight men. She couldn't stand being around straight men. So because I guess they were childhood buddies or whatever, that's when she would go spend time with her friend. It's like, okay, well, at least you're not being asked to choose, huh? I guess she was subtly, huh? And that's what bothers me about it, is a lesbian or a dyke or whatever wouldn't know the dynamics of a straight relationship. It'd be like me knowing the dynamics of a gay relationship. Yeah. So it was just, and that was about the same time because David House knew her too. That's how I had met her, was through David House. He'd known her since she was a child. So you see, the plot thickens, doesn't it? Oh yeah, see, my life technically, literally reads kind of like one of the, like, yeah, some weird fucking soap opera. And being honest and being responsible and doing what I'm supposed to do in this day and age sounds kind of crazy. And part of it's to honor my Native American. I don't have a choice, you know, really. But see, here's where it gets even more interesting. There's this thing called Gathering of the Ancients. Let's just say my brother's older brother, the medicine man, was at the Gathering of the Ancients. And what that was something that went down in Arizona. And it was a gathering of elders and peoples from all over the globe, all the indigenous peoples globally. I'm sitting there going, how come I didn't get an invitation? Hey, what's up, Andrew? How's it going? So it's like, well, how come I didn't get an invitation? Come on. You guys fucking shafted me because you knew something about my bloodline, and somehow you found out about my x-rays before I knew about what was going on in my body or anything else. Can you fuckers believe? Are you Christian? You've been listening with faith. Oh, God. Watch the beginning of the video. I'm not gonna explain all that again. You could watch the beginning. It'll explain it. It's too complicated to call Christian. That and the word Christian is actually a derogatory term. Rome called those that followed Christ Christians is more or less a derogatory term. They followed the way, ironically. My goodness, what a dickwad. I said, sorry, but it seems as if Andrew blames God for all his problems. What's funny is then they try to say God doesn't exist after they call God a piece of shit. I don't understand why people are so angry at God. I thought to most of you, God didn't exist. So if a Satanist mistreats me, should I be angry at Satan? No, I'm serious. You know, Satanist or Christian, I think both sides are kind of fucked up in the head. I mean, I believe in good and evil and all that, but Christianity and Satanism are two sides of a fucking coin that got counterfeited way too many times. What kind of Satanist? God, it's like when somebody says they're a Christian, it's like, well, I sit there and I wonder, is there going to be a problem, or are you going to be a decent human being? Oh my God. Wow. Well, see, I was accused of being part of a satanic bloodline, which I didn't appreciate for several reasons. Because I've never presented myself as one, for one. For two, my bloodline has never been really associated with Satanism other than by Stu Webb and Joel Oppenheimer and a few other asshats out there, including Tracy Twyman. Tracy Twyman, I think, is a Satanist or something along those lines. And she and her buddy Nicholas DeVere von Drakenberg, they were including my bloodline into some of their bullshit, which I didn't appreciate much. And I let Nicholas DeVere know back in 2003 to take down the Kimberline name. And Pendragon has nothing to do with their bullshit. He did. So how did Nicholas DeVere von Drakenborg know that Kimberline was Pendragon? Now, I'm talking historical facts. I'm not talking about some mythology or something here. And Kimberline is the Shakespeare name, by the way. The real name is Cunobeline. And you can look it up in your history books. Go look up Caractacus. C-A-R-A, blah, blah, whatever. And it's the Prince Aeneas name. That's basically his father, basically as far back as a lot of the history goes. So that's what I've had to deal with. People talking shit. People throwing people under the bus because of some crazy ass conspiracy theory. But somebody comes up and says they're part of the CIA and y'all kiss their ass. How about Robert David Steele and his Mars stories? NASA had to do a fucking whole press release on that shit. What about George Webb and shutting down the Port of St. Charles? Oh, yeah, I've heard of Anton LaVey. I grew up with the son of his children's nanny. Well, I didn't grow up. I went to high school with him. We smoked a lot of weed together and went to keggers. And I know that Shrek used to act like he hated homosexuals or something and act like he was being abusive to them in the Bay Area in order to bring attention to it. He was doing that kind of reverse psychology weird shit. Yeah, I know a little bit about their stuff. But the thing is I don't see the logic, let's just say, in putting that much energy into something like that. It's just because people hurt people and because there's disease. Well, quite often our choices are what causes it. I mean, yeah, let's build a nuclear reactor right next to the nursery school. Oh, hey, by the way, you know where we dug this shit up at? We saw these Native American petroglyphs, and then when we asked them what the petroglyphs signified, they said death. So it looks like an ancient people left a warning, don't dig this shit up and use it. But we did. So when people are mad at God about that, I don't understand it. It's probably because of my upbringing. I'm not skeptical. I've seen a lot of bullshit, but I've also seen a lot of supernatural. So I'm kind of like an old gunning sergeant from the trenches, I guess. You know, it's kind of like this. I've been mugged more in white neighborhoods than I have in any colored neighborhood or hood or whatever. What's on the other side of what? You see, here's the thing: is I've never really been into religion, but because of just how I was as a child, I had questions about God. And it wasn't because of disbelief, because my earliest thoughts I was thinking about God. So it's like, to me, not believing in God is it just it, it, I just have never not believed. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't argue with people that don't believe, because they're in the same kind of mindset I guess I would be in. Just I'm at the other end of the spectrum. If somebody's waiting for God to show some proof or something, but they'd be open to it, well, doesn't seem like there's a problem, is there? I mean, maybe God prefers that sometimes. Just be a decent human being. Because you see, there's little Bible verses like God teaches man in a way he can understand. There are those of my flock that won't find salvation, and those not of my flock that will find salvation. So, there's all these little Bible verses that tell me not to be like these judgmental pricks out there. Because I've read or heard those same things in the Native American ways, the Buddhist ways, most ways that at least try to be peaceful or loving and caring, or they say they do. But you see, there again, the Tibetan Buddhists formed their Buddhism from a foundation of tyranny. They had to become that accepting, that patient, that tolerant. Yeah, yeah, I've seen some weird stuff like that too. Um, so with that, I gotta get some stuff situated and taken care of. I just want to touch base. You know, yeah, anyways, it's just difficult. I don't hate God for the edicts I live by or am asked to live by, whatever form it takes. It's just, and it's always the same stuff. It's the same basic. This is how you live. You know. So, anyways, catch y'all later. You guys have a good day.